So I will start with some basic HTML, right? Then I will use some normal tags on HTML just to like bring back our what we've learned last week. So first thing is head. Then inside the head you have the title that states CAC King's Feet Tabernacle Suit. Then don't forget that the head contains every section on the menu tab, on the browser tab. So I'm saving this, and on the file location, cooperative parts, paste, no, sorry, copy part. Okay, fine. So don't forget the title reads what? CAC King's Feet Tabernacle Suit. So that's where the title is. Then on the body now, I will switch back to the body, then we start writing. So I don't know, maybe you get to the point where they start teaching you division or span in W3 schools. When you span and division. So let me just quickly iterate over it. So division is you have like a field, you have a board. Then division means I'm assigning this section to you, I'm assigning this section to you, and I'm assigning this section to you. So division breaks it. Given that if this is a board, this section is a division, this other section is a division, this other section is a division. So when you attach division to any tag or any element inside HTML, it breaks it to the next line, except if you pass in the width of that division. So if you pass in the width of the division, and you now float the division to either right or left. So you are telling the browser that, okay, you see this particular section of this content, I'm moving it to the left, and I'm moving this also to the left or right. So you now specify the width of this will be 50%, 50%, then you just see them. Okay, so let's just try something. So now, the first thing is when you design something like this, you know that every content that you want to display is in the body. And you notice that the body starts and the body close. So everything sits inside the body. So you can decide to use division. So inside this division, we call, let's say
sorry to cut you short. This your writing, I don't know if you can make it bigger a little bit to 27 or 10.
Okay. So this is welcome to my world. So everything sits, like I said, everything sits inside it. Then when you refresh, you see welcome to my world. Yeah. Like it's very obvious, you can see it now.
Very clear.
Yeah, exactly. So you notice that the division is inside the division. Now let me now put another division here. So I put radar, and I put another division. Let's say this is radar 1, and this is radar 2, and this is radar 3. So when I refresh, it breaks them to radar 1, radar 2, radar 3. They are breaked. Now, see what span does. Span class 1, class 2, span class 3. Refresh. Do you see the difference? So division breaks into 1, 2, 3. Span makes it horizontally. So it's arranging it like that. So what we are saying is for every, so watch what I want to do. So you see, when I click this, so watch. When I click this, radar 1. When I move to radar 2, radar 3, do you see this thing moving? Radar, then the class, then this whole the division. So if I close this division now, I can delete this. So it takes it out. So we have the division, the division, the division, the span, and the span. So if I'm coming in now, right? If I'm coming in and I had another span here, I'll call it span 4. Then I save, refresh, span 4. Now I come in and I pass and I said, okay, see, the next one is division radar 5, and I refresh to the next line. So division breaks your elements. Why span doesn't break it, so it makes it spread, but division breaks it. So another thing is table. So let's take a look at table. So inside this can have table. Then inside the table, okay, I think I need to open the W3 School so that we can learn HTML. So I taught you headings, H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, and I taught you paragraph, which is the P, then the styles, which is the CSS actually. So I will still show you the CSS part. That's where we are going. Then the formatting. The formatting, we have the italic, we have the bold, we have the subscript. So with all these are formatting elements in HTML. You have B's for bold, strong, the italic, the emphasized text, the mark, the small, the deleted, inserted, subscript text, and superscript text. Then we have the quotation, the quotes. Then I'm going straight, I'm leaving the comment. So HTML2 has comment. So basically, what we mean by comment is, let me undo this. So I write all this, but I don't want this reader one to show. I'm saving it back and refresh. Oh, and refresh. So I don't want that reader one to show. So you can pass a comment. So a comment actually or simply means that this part or this section of the code should not be executed by the browser. So to pass the comment, watch what I want to pass. This exclamation. You see, it has changed everything to green. That means all from here to here is now a comment. So when the browser is coming and it reaches here, it stops. It doesn't execute this part because this part has already been commented out. So you can use it to pass like a text to the next programmer or the next developer that is coming in to come and edit the code. So I can put something like this. Then to end, remember I told you that when you start something, you end it. So when you are starting the comment, you have to end the comment. So to end the comment, you pass it dash -, this. Then you see this one shows but commented this. So if I go to the browser and refresh, one is out. Why? Because it's a comment. So the browser just exclude that part and continue executing the section. So that's basically what comment does. So then we have the colors. So HTML2 has its own color, the tomato, orange, everything. So but they're using CSS to pass the color. So I don't want to use HTML to pass color. I want to use CSS so that you can actually understand. So if you notice, last week I was writing something like F00, 0F0, 00F, FFF, 000. So we have in styling or in color, we have RGB. So RGB, this R means red, this green means this G means green, while the B means blue. Now this is how it works. It's very tricky, but if you understand it, you can just know the color code in your head, but you can't know everything. They are too much, right? So we have the X, the hexadecimal color code. They're like this. This is what I was using last week.
Yes.
Now you can short this into 3. And you can write it full. So now this is it. If you know in RGB, RGB you have the red start, the green, then the B. So it means that the first part is the red. So when you toggle red on and you leave GB, that means red will show. You can turn off red and show G. You can turn off G. You know we have primary colors, right? Primary colors we have, I think red is part of it, then blue is part of it, and
Green is part of it.
exactly. So it's like primary colors. So when you add some primary colors, you get secondary colors. Exactly, that's how it works. So when you turn on, you can turn on G and B. So the primary color, it will now add G and B together and show you the color. So I will show you how to turn on a particular part and turn off. It's very simple, like very, very simple, and I will show you. So when I'm writing, for example, I want to give this span, this class, I want to give it a color. So I will say style. So style, this means I'm writing an inline CSS. In line CSS, again, it means that the CSS is passed to the tag of the HTML. So you can customize that particular tag. Are you getting me? You can customize that particular tag. So I can say color. You see how I'm passing it? Style equals to. That's an assignment operator in programming languages. Color, then column. What color am I giving? The first thing you had is the hash. So that means you are writing a color. So anybody that sees hash knows that you're writing a color. The first one is R, the second one is G, the third one is B. That's RGB. So if you want to turn on red and off the rest, you just say FF. FF means red is on. 0, 0, 0, 0. Then I put colon. So now, because a 0 means false, 1 means true. So instead of passing 1, you use F. So F represents true, while 0 represents false. So what we are trying to say is R should be on, while GB should be off. So when you refresh this, the browser, it gives that class 2 red and gives others black. Do you get it? So if I'm to turn on style equals color, so I want to turn on blue now. So blue, remember RGB. So that means I'm turning off red, I'm turning off green, and I'm on blue. So F off, green off, blue on, save. So I want you to understand the trick. If you can understand this trick, it will be very easy for you. It will be very, very easy. So you can just, if anybody tells you, can you give me color green? Instead of you writing green, just say green. It's 00 FF 00. That should be green. The pen test it and they get green. They'll be like, oh, this guy, it's as if you pass the code on your head. It's not as if you not pass the code. It's just understanding how the color is being rendered on the browser. So let's give it a shot. Let's give something a shot now. So I want to turn on green now. What should I do? How will I turn on green? 00 FF 00, exactly. So it turns green on. So if I refresh this page, see we have the red, the blue, and the green. So if you just understand how the color communicates, that's all. So now let me now show you what I mean by primary color and secondary color. So when you turn red, have you asked yourself when you add red and green, what color will it give you? Exactly. So like brown. So these are, you don't need to stress yourself. Just on red, on green, and off blue. Then it gives you the color yellow. Do you get it? So now, but if you turn red on, you turn green on, and you turn blue on, everything on, then it gives you white because there is no color. Everything is on. Everything is on. So you can't just show red, you can't show blue, and you can't show everything. Everything will still be on. So if I change this to white, you can't see the text again because the background is. You see, you can't see the text again. But the text is there actually.
That's the white text.
Exactly. But do you know that we can, if there is no color at all, that means you've turned all the color off. So it's very easy to write black.
Yes.
Black will just come because everything is off. 000000 is off. So do we get it, or should I come again? Do you understand the concept of those colors? So we also have RGB too. So if you don't want to use X, you can use RGB. Let me show you how RGB. No. You know what? Let's do it like this. See this division that is holding it. Let's give this particular division its own color. So I pass in the color and I said, okay, give me background color RGB. Now I've passed in RGB. If you put 0, comma 0, comma 0. It gives you what? I turn it off. This is almost the same concept. Should I come again?
Yes.
I pass in RGB. Remember that I said, oh God now. Remember I said we have RGB, we have hexadecimal. So X is RGB. This is RGB. So it passes inside a bracket. So the first section here, this is my organo one grill. So the first section here means red. The second section green. The third section blue. So if I change this to 50, this is what it gives me. So this RGB makes it flexible that you can have your deep blue and your light blue because it ranges from 0 to 100. Oh God. So it ranges from from 0 to 255. So if you pass 255, 255 and 255, it gives you white. So that means if I pass, what do you think will happen if I pass 45, 45 and 45? See, because it's getting close to black, to 0 from 255. You see it. Now another thing is you can now add what we call opacity. I added A, so I can add a 0.5. So opacity means how transparent, like how transparent do you want the background to be. You see, it's very transparent. Do you get it now? So basically, that's how the X and the RGB works. So this gives you red because we turn on the R and turn off this. We turn off this and turn on blue. You turn this off this and give this A5. So but for A5 because it is A5, this color code is kind of a bit tricky because you don't know what A, B, and all of them are doing. Yes, so most people uses RGB. So that's just the basic part of the HTML color. Then we have the CSS is what we are starting actually. Then we have the links. The links is the A that I showed that we can link from your website to Facebook, to Twitter, to any other links. Then the images, we imported image last week by IMG space source. Then the part of the image. Then the table, this is the table. This table is very easy. See, they're even using internal CSS for everything. They're using CSS. Okay, so I'm adding a table. Then inside this table, let me give it the width. I want the table to fill the whole screen. So you can say style, then the width gives me 100%. So 100% basically means everything, the whole width. Now table is divided into three sections. We have the table head, the table body, and the table footer. So maybe the table head just contains the columns of what to be represented. So we have we have the table head. Inside the table head, we have the table data that can give us, let's say, the name, the class, and position. Do you get it? So now, then we have the table body. Then the table bodies gives us, because body deals with row. Like each of the table has a row. So we have the TR. TR means table row. Then you now have the table data. So the first thing here is what? It's name. So you pass the name. The next thing is what? Is class. Then the next thing is position. So if you refresh this, so do you see? Let me add border to it so that we can see it very well. This is like it's filled up the whole screen with 100%. That's the width. But if I take out the width, let me take out the width so you can see what I'm saying. So it just now it's ordinary table. This is what's happening. Everything is now clustered together. So that's basically the table and how the table works. So if I want to add another record, I'll just copy and paste this and change this to and refresh. It has another table, another row. So if I had another row again, do what? You copy this and paste. And you do what? You refresh. So it keeps adding different rows. So now let's say we want to add more column to it. So we can just say date. And that means for every of them we are adding date. Today. Tomorrow. Friday. So when you come and you refresh, it gives you the date. Do you get it, or should I come again? At this point, let me know if I should come again. Let me know if I should come again. Okay, so that means with table, right, we can divide our screen into two. Have you asked yourself that, how can I divide my screen into two? So, like, you want one content to be here, another content to be here. And if table can divide them into something like this, it's just to pass just two columns into the table. Passing two columns into the table, one will be on the left, the other one will be on the right, and it works. This is what I'm saying. We are splitting the. So here, because we want to split our content. There's no need to pass the table head. We don't need the head. What we need is just the content. So you can pass in the T body. Okay.
It seems your laptop is a Mac laptop.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
And you guys use edit text in that way. We will use the notepad or the WordPress.
Yeah.
So, how different is the text and the notepad? The text version and the notepad.
Is this? I don't want you to start with that because I want to understand the tags. That's why I did not show you the editor yet.
Because the tags are similar, but they are different.
The what?
Tags are similar.
No, it's still the same tag. It's HTML. HTML has nothing to do with the system you are using. Yeah, it's still the same tag. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. Welcome to the left side. Welcome to the right side. So anything you want to put on the left, you can decide to come here and just pass your paragraph. This part of the section is on the left side of the page. Then you have this on the right of the page. So when you refresh this, you see now I've divided the page into two. So if you can divide it into two, definitely you can divide it into three, even into four. So the only thing we will just do is to come here, copy this, and just paste it and change this one to the middle. Since we're writing a text, I'm on the middle side. So when I refresh, it becomes three. Do you get it? So with table, you can split your content. You can still do it in CSS, and I will show you. So do you understand the table parts now? Or do you want me to go through it? You see, the next thing is just the list, the block and inline, the classes, ID, and I will show you everything. Do you want me to come again or I should continue?
Continue.
Okay. So let me show you the list. So what we call list is items. How to itemize your, probably maybe you have like a table of content. How to itemize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can achieve it with HTML. So in HTML, that we have list, and list is divided into two. We have the ordered list and the unordered list. The unordered list doesn't show 1, 2, 3. It shows dot. It shows that unordered list. But the ordered list will show 1, 2, 3 itself. So to have the list, for unordered list, you have UL. Unordered list, like the U and the L together. So you now have the first item 1, the list 1, the list 2, the list 3, the list 4, and the list 5. So if I save this and refresh, that's the unordered list because it is dot. Do we get it? Now, at the same time, we have the ordered list. So the ordered list is the one that is ordered. So just to remove this U and change it to O, it means the ordered list. So if I refresh, it shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see the difference? So the unordered list will not show you the 1, 2, 3. The ordered list will show you. Hope this item is not confusing. It's even better because this is the content and this is the tag. So it's attaching this dot, and dot to it. That's the unordered list. Then we have the ordered list. Yes. So let me now show you the concept of ID and classes in HTML. Am I too fast? Okay. So I want to show you the contact of the the class and the ID. Now, when you look at a human being, they will ask, let me see your ID card. ID card just shows your identity, and it's for what? It's for that particular person, right? So they will just say, let me see your NIN. That NIN is for you alone. So identity in HTML is for the ID is for that particular segment or that particular section of the HTML. So if I say division ID equals to, I'm giving an ID of content. Now, when I close it, right? So that means what can I use to identify this particular part alone is what is content. So inside this, I can now say, okay, I have the P paragraph that said this is the identity of content. If I refresh this page now, just show me the black, right? Now, let me show you the internal CSS. So I will now come to the header and pass style. So passing style. Now in CSS, if you see any ID in HTML, in CSS you call that name. No, I said ID equals to content here. I said ID equals to content. So for me to use this content inside my CSS, I will pass hash and the name. So watch, I can now say that, okay, on this man, give it background color of red, then give it a color, the text color of white, then give it a padding of 10px or 10 rem, then give it a margin of 0 auto. Then I save. So if I come refresh, this is what happened. This is where the content is. Do you know why? Because I've added the padding and the margin, so it has pushed the content. Now the ID actually represents this section, and it is wide enough. So if I want to give it if I want to bring it to the middle, right? I can take this out and what I say, see, give me width of 50% of the whole section. So it will reduce this red now to the middle. You see, it brings it to the middle. Now, for me to now increase it from the middle, I can say, okay, give me padding of 10 px on that text. So if it's giving me a padding of 10 px on that text, I have it. You see, it's at the middle. Like it's at the middle of your. So if you use ruler and measure from here to here, measure from here to here, it's the same thing. So there's a way. So what the browser did is, because I specified this eye width to be 50%, and the full width, if I have the complete width, is 100%. When something is 100%, that means it's everything 100. Now the browser now comes and said you are giving this section 50%. 50% minus 100%, we have 50% left, right? Automatically, this from here is what? 25%. This from here is 25%, and this from here is 50%. So it makes it what? 100% full. Do you get it, or should I come again? Just like draw me back if you are not getting it. I want you to get it very well, because as time goes, I will just call one of you. Hello, I have one work that I want to do. I have a lot of work on my desk actually, so I cannot call any of you. Are you free to do this HTML work? Yes, okay. I have one. Someone was even calling me yesterday for a work. I told them I will call you back. I will call you back because I don't have enough resources with me. So if anyway, I can call any of you and say we have a work that we want to do. Are you available? And you come and you get paid.
Well, you said you were going to divide us to classes, the front end, the back end.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want everybody to have the knowledge of this first. Do you get it? Do you get it now? If you don't get to this point, just let me know. I can go back. So the
only thing is you've gotten your number now. That's the job.
and no problem.
We are doing at our own time that we don't understand. That someone can just type it on the group. If you are a group member, like you know how to do, you can still come and explain, or he too can come and explain.
Yes. So you understand how the coding part works now. So as we have the ordered list now, the question that will pop up is, what if I want to duplicate? I want this class to affect this class, and this section, my styling here should affect this, should affect this, should affect this. You don't use ID, because ID is an identity attached to one section. So you use class, because you can be in class 1 today. This one is in class 1, so we have 2 people in class 1. You understand? So his class can accommodate different content. So I'm just using this basic example so you can understand it. So the question now, we have division. Now see what I want to do. Division ID equals to content class. Are you getting it? Now, and I say, then I have division class of content ID and content class. Now the content class, this gives me class 1. Then let me just, you see, I just duplicate. So I'm picking this because it affects everything. So because it's ID, what will I use? No, it's an ID of content ID. What will I use to call it from CSS? Hash, exactly. So I call hash and paste. So it will call it from HTML to com. So you can now give that one, but let's give it background color of, let's give it green. That's turning off red, turning off red, turning on blue, turning off, and turning on green and turning off blue. So it gives us green. So now if I refresh this page, I have the full, because it's width, it's division. So that's the class. Now for each of the class 1, I want class 1 to have its own styling, class 2 to have its own styling. So from this we can give it a padding. Now this is what padding is. From this C to here. Okay, wait, let me just write it so that we can see it very well. Padding, let me give it 2 rem. Now I'm giving it a padding of 2 rem and I refresh. This is what happened. So it's like it's pushing it to the center. That it's come so from this angle here to this angle here, from here, here, and here. So this is padding. Then we have margin also. So I can give it margin of 2 rem. So if I give margin of 2 rem and I refresh this, it affects this content on its own, like the whole section. But padding affects the content inside it. Do you get? So we have the margin and we have the padding. Now I now said, okay, for each of this class here, I want them to inherit some CSS styling that I write. So just copy this. Now to call class in CSS, use dot. So dot means class, hash means ID. Dot means class, hash means ID. Then I can say, okay, for each of them, please can you inherit rem, padding of, okay, let's say padding of 7 pixel. Px means pixel. Then give it background color of 0000ff of blue. Then give it the color of white. Then refresh. So do you see? Now let me show you something for you to know. You see this? In between this and this, there is a line, an invisible line, because I did not specify it. Now let me now do something. Remember that I said let me give this, each of them, a margin and see how they will break out from each other. So if I'm giving it a margin of 2px, see they're breaking out now because I'm specifying. So do you see that I don't need to write CSS for this, write CSS for this, write for this, write for this, write for this. No, one CSS. Now a lot of them now over, like they are reading from that CSS into their home. So let me increase it more so that we can see it. You see? So now let's now give it a border color, because if you check this very well, there is a black color here. So we want to change it from black and make it white. So you can say border 1px. That is how thick do you want the line. I can say 1px, 2px, 3px, 4px, depending on what you want. Then should it be broken, or so we have dotted. Should it be dotted, and we have, let's give it the color of white. So when you refresh this, let me make this 5. So you can see it. This is the dotted, but we don't want dotted. I don't like dotted, so I'm changing it to solid. So when it is solid and you refresh, this is what you have. This is the essence of that. So because I gave it 5px of border, so it makes the border very big and wide. So most people always, it's not really necessary. You can just put 1 and refresh. Then you see the effect of that white around it. So another thing is, you know, this thing is rectangle. You can make it like something curve at each point, here, there. You can make it curve. So to make it curve, you can just pass border, because it's a border, right? Border radius, and set it to, let's say, 10px. Now save. Then if I refresh, this is that has changed. So it has curved it for 10px. Do we get it? Do you not understand? That day when I told you that HTML is like the skeleton, but CSS gives beauty to it. Just style it. Now, to achieve all this in HTML, do you get it now? So that's the end of the CSS. CSS just styles it. So I've shown you the list.
So which day are we coming to create a website for ourselves?
It will be towards the end, when you actually understand some of these things.
We are not understanding. We only have next week.
No,
as in for theory part. Let's say for theory part.
No, you will soon start. You will soon, because I want you to just understand the concept. So that when you are building your own, whatever we say, build your own personal website and come and show. You come, you can see it. This website looks ugly. I would say it.
Yes.
I would say that this thing is not fine at all. Or this one, it has color riot. The colors are fighting. Why will you put blue and put green and put this? And you need a product designer. If I look at you, I say, this man is supposed to be a front-end engineer. You know how to style and you understand. So that's just the essence now. So that's basically the CS. So with HTML, you can do this. So you can either use table or you use CSS to class. Now instead of using table to divide into two, now I want to show you the power of CSS. Now I can say with this division class. So this is an ID, it's affecting the whole section. I call it container. Now that means container means that's where it holds the content. So I have two divisions inside the container. The first one, I give it left content. The second one, I give it right content. Now, the way it is, right? Me looking at this part, you know what I want to achieve. Why? Because I said left content, right content, and the container. So the container holds it's just like the Milo tin. You know, the tin is the container. That's what contains the Milo itself. If you open the Milo and give it to small children, they will consume all the content, all the left, right, center, and everything. They consume it. So the content now is what we have inside it. So at first, I refresh this page. Wait, did I say? Oh, I've not had anything. Thank you. So we have the left content and we have the right content. So we save. Then you see everything has dropped. Remember what I told you about span and division. But now this is not what we want to achieve. We want the left to be on the left, the right to be on the right, and everybody should have its own content and its own styling. Then you can now style whatever you want. Are you getting it? So what do you think? What do you think makes this left to and this right to come down left? Because the browser gives the left content the whole width. So the whole width from here to here, the browser gives it to left. This is your own. Now it's breaking, because it's division now, it's breaking down that one under. So we can now force browser to tell browser that, browser, see, this man here should have 50%. This man here should have 50%, and float them to the left. So let me show you what I'm saying. So I can copy this. Remember, this is an ID. So what will I use to represent it? I use hash and give it a width of what? 100%. You can say put percent here. Then I have my left content, which is a class. So I use dot. And I have my right content, which is a class also. Now, I'm giving this man here background color of, let's use hash on red, off green, on blue. Exactly. See, so that means that covers the whole page. Now, use color of white and save. It changes to white. Now give it a minimum height. That's what I'm doing. A minimum height of 200 px. So when it should just give it a height. You see, it is spread out. Do you see? But it just give it a height. Now I have it, but I still want to separate left content to right content. So I want to teach you how you can do it in the old ways. There is flex, and like now we have flex, we have the grid system. But I just want to show you this, like the normal CSS, how you write it. So inside the left content, you pass float to left. Inside the right content, if you want the content to start from the right, you put right. But because I want it to start from the left, I put left. Now still see what happened. Let's see, that's moved everything to the left. So this is left, and this is left. But we want to like push it out. We don't like the way the thing is moved. We want to push it out. So we'll come here and give this what? Width of, let's give it 49%. So I can use the remaining 1% for border or margin. Then this man here, 49%. So on this, and you refresh, do you see? Then let's give this man here padding of let's say 2 rem, and you refresh. Do you see now? So you see that I've divided this with this. So any content you are writing here, battery is low. Call young. So any content you are writing here, and the first paragraph. So when you refresh, you see, like everything just fall under the zone section. So we can say, okay, for the left content, let's give it a background color of #FF00, and let's give this background color of #00FFFF. So on this, and you refresh, you see each of them has their own color. Then remember that we have, so you can change this color alone, you can change this color alone, and you can change the whole section color at the same time too. How? Because we have a container that is holding everything, that affects everything inside the container. So you can, from container here, gives a color. Okay, we already have a color. You can change it from white and give it no. Okay, let me just pick any color here. Let's see. So the color affects everything, but we can still change this color alone. So how do we change this color? From the right content, exactly. From the right content alone, you change this color alone. Do you get it? From the right content, color of, and you refresh. You see, it affects this color and doesn't affect this color. So now with this, that means you can split what you use table to achieve here. What we use table to achieve here is what we are trying to achieve here too. So with CSS, you can break, you can style. So now the last part I'll be putting you through in CSS and HTML is the form. Now, the form. Okay. Okay.
Is there a way we can split the CSS and HTML so that's not confusing when we are working with packages?
How?
Like maybe there's a way we can put CSS inside, put HTML inside, and just call it in.
Yes, that's what we are doing here.
He's trying to say maybe external.
Okay, like
external
file.
Like
Yeah, we are still going there. That's the external. So, like I said the last time, you have 3 ways of bringing in your CSS. We have the inline CSS, which I showed you here. It's right inside the tag. We have the internal, which is what I'm showing you here, which is on the head of the class. Now, let's now write the external. Now, the external, I'm creating a file on the same root with where my HTML is. So I'm calling it style.css. So I have this. So everything here, I want to move them out. If I cut it now and I save, refresh. Where is the CSS? Disappeared. It's only this green because it's an inline. So the old CSS have disappeared. So all the left content, right content, everything is now the normal skeleton of HTML. You see, it's not even fine at all. So because we want to put it an external class, I'm bringing them in here. So now they are in, right? If I still refresh, it's not still seeing it because I've not called the. So to call it in an HTML, it will be on the header. So you put link rel, which is equals to okay, I'm coming. The first one is the link. The second one is the href. Remember what I told you about the anchor, that the href is actually what shows you to the path to the CSS. Do you remember? So it is the if you have something like this, before I go proceed, you have something like this. Inside this, then you pass in your A means anchor, then the href, which shows you where it should go, and I pass in https facebook.com, and I close and I put Facebook. So it means that if you click that Facebook, you see, it will go to Facebook. They see it. So it shows the path. So the same thing applies to when you're working with external. So when you have your link, you have your href. So where's the path to your CSS? Is style.css. Now, what is the type of this file? Is it JavaScript? Is it CSS? Is this XHTML? You can now say the type is equals to text/CSS. So I have imported it and I refresh. Sorry, I'm coming. There is something I'm coming. I'm missing something. Okay. Oh, okay. So then you have the rel, which is style sheet. What has to do with this? So it means the relative is style sheet. Then the type is text/CSS, and the path to the link. Do you get it? So this is the path to where the CSS file is. This is the type of the file, and this is the rel of the file, which is a style sheet. So if you refresh, it brings back our CSS back. So you see that I've separated the CSS entirely from the HTML. Do we get it? Or shall I come again? Any question?
Yes, still based on CSS.
Okay.
I'm still kind of like confused when on how to use inline block. So there is inline block, and I think there's also
Internal.
be it internal or external. Like how to use that inline block. I don't know.
Inline CSS.
Yes.
So
CSS.
on inline CSS, should any tag you have, let's say we have bold.
And also, sorry, before I just
Okay.
remember, and also position. Like, what does it mean to be? And that is on CSS. Like, what does it mean to be relative? Like,
Okay,
sometimes you see position relative.
fix, position relative, position fix, position static, position, yeah. Okay, let me just show you this. Although that part, they normally use it on probably on a content. If you have like a container, the way I describe it, the container, and inside the container, now giving this particular section, the position relative. So it means this position is relative to the container. So whatsoever is doing is not out of the scope of that container. We are still getting there, don't worry. So, okay, I think there is two questions: the position and and the inline. So the inline, if you want to write any inline CSS, on the tag, once you just open the tag and you put space, just type style equals and put this code. So anything in between that quote now is CSS.
What I'm trying to say is the
Okay.
you see what do I call it? Like position. Let's say, for example, you wrote on HTML, then you have linked it to your CSS, then on your attributes you now use what's it called? Position relative. Okay, you have mentioned sorry. The inline block. Yes, the inline block. Like you see text inline block, and you also see display flex.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Okay, now let me use this as an example. So remember that I mentioned something now that we have the flex, we have the grid system.
And sorry, the thing is coming, so I just want to write it out if I forget. Also,
Okay.
what is the difference between REM and pixel?
Okay,
I was supposed
pixel.
to use- Yeah, I'm pixel.
I want to zoom.
Pixel. Thank you.
PX.
Yes, PX.
The pixel is the see on a normal screen, like the way the screen is designed, we have dots. If you look close into a screen, you will see dots, right? The distance between those dots is the pixel. You understand? So, but the dots, they are very tiny. You can't. Okay, I'm coming.
Okay. Then when you zoom, you get to see them.
Let me see if I can get. Aha! You see all those dots? So this is how the normal screen is. But they try to on our phones and our computer and everything. You don't see this because they are of the same color. So they blend together, which form this, and later forms. But if you notice on TV or some screens, you just notice all those. Yeah. So each of them is called. The space now is called pixel. So if you are specifying one pixel, that means I'm filling up the dot. Exactly. So that's pixel. But the rem is that one is wider. So okay, let's do it like this for you to understand. I'm coming. Okay. I'm moving this into two. So this is rem. This is pixel. So I think 8 of pixel equals to 1. Let me just confirm. So this type rem type pixel. I put px, right? Okay. Having 1 px. No. Border 1 px solid, and the color should be black. Then no. Rem. So the border 1 px solid. Then let's give it black too. So if you come here, refresh, do you see? Like the pixel is just showing. Come and see something. I don't know if you can see it too. If you look closely into the screen, this black is occupying each dot.
Yes.
Down. That means it's 1 pixel is 1 dot on the screen. So for you to show, it's not showing each of those dots. That's basically the concept of the screen. The screen has pixels. There are millions of pixels on the screen. So you understand that each of the dots become a pixel. But 1 pixel is equals to, I guess it's 8 or 16. Let me check. let's change this to, let's change it to, let me change to 8. No, that means it's 16. Exactly. So you see, so you can just see 1 rem to pixel. Exactly. So I got it. 16. Yeah. So that means on this screen now, it's showing what? It has connected 16 dots on 1 rem. So they invented that rem because if you keep using px, you will get to 32 pixel, 42. So it keeps increasing. Why not just connect 16 dots and call it 1 rem? That's what they call it with 1 rem. So the display now, we have different kind of display. We have the block. There is a display called block. There is one we call inline block. There is the display of flex. Now when you call flex display, you are changing your styling type to flex, where you now have to use row content justification. So that one is a bit kind of very flexible. I will show you how to get flex. I will give you a link. In fact, let me just give everybody that link so you can read more about flex CSS. It's very easy than this type of, but this CSS is very, like, it's just the basics. Like, you need to understand this part first before you now move into flex and the grid system. The grid system just gives you grid is 5px, 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 0. So you just arrange it on the screen for you. That's all. They've already mapped everything. So to answer your question, let me use, before we go to form, let me answer this question so that everybody can understand this now. We visited a website where you have a menu, right? Now, what they use to achieve that menu is the unordered list. Do you know about what I call on that unordered list? That dot. So we want to create a menu now, unordered list. You will see the display you're talking about actually. I want to use an example to explain. Now, inside the unordered list, we have our list. We have 4 lists. We have the home, we have the contact us, we have the blog, and we have, let's say, the support. Now, inside this home, you want, normally if you click a link on the menu, this is what I mean by menu. So we want to do something like this. We want to do something like this. So if you click this, it takes to home. If you click this, it takes to CSS. If you click this, it takes you to JavaScript, right? So now, what will you use to link those files? Remember, I mentioned something like anchor, the ahref. So you pass the A inside the list, href. Then when you click, I don't want it to go to anywhere. You should just remain on that page. JavaScript void 0. Then pass home. You can use, I want to show another one too. I copy this, paste. Then this, I can put hash. So hash means don't go to anywhere. I can come here, paste. What was it? Blog. Contact us and home. Then the same thing here, which give us support. So if I refresh this page now, you see what we have. There is it. Now we'll now use CSS to make it what? Like a styling. So we want to style it to make it look like a normal menu. So don't forget what I let me bring it up so that we can, once we refresh, we will see it. Aha. See. Now, the container that is holding it is what? Is UL. Don't forget, UL is holding it. So in HTML and CSS give you the flexibility of calling, when we use hash and dot is a custom way of calling classes and ID in CSS, in HTML. So there's another way to call it, they call it predefined predefined tags in CSS. So instead of assigning this, I can give it an ID of nav, right? I can take it out, and this UL, I will come here and call UL my CSS and say UL, give it a background of black. Now, if you notice that it picks all the UL, remember that another list here has been picked also. So what we want to pick the first one, which is this. So we want to specify that ID. Do you get? And if I look at the second, this side there, that one leaves, but this one stays. That means I've uniquely identified that part. Now this is anchor. Each of them, they are anchor, right? So we want to stretch them and remove this under this. You see this? There is this blue things. We want to remove it. I want to take out the dots. So let me just comment out the styling first, so that we can see how you see now. So the next thing is hash nav. Inside the navigation, I want to identify each of the items. Li A. So A picks the anchor, Li picks the list. So when I say A and I put text decoration to be none, the underline gone. And I come and I said color, make it
So let's maintain that color.
yeah, I will still change it back, because if I maintain the no, I will change it, because I want to, that blue is automatically assigned to every A on HTML. So but you can change it if you like. So that's why I'm changing it to red. You see, so even though the browser is giving us blue, we not tell the browser we don't want blue, we want red. Then we have now Li. Then we have the background here to be black. We have the text coloration none. We have this to be black. Blah, blah. Exactly. So it's fine now. Display. So block, it gives. How can I explain this? You know, the whole section like this. If I'm saying that this section should be blocked, that means I'm giving these parts, like the style, it affects. The phone is low. My call. No. Okay, so I've seen it. The list style. Sorry, I forgot. So if I take this out back, do you see? Do you see it? Do you see this dot?
Yes.
But because we don't need it, because we need to stretch it like this, so we have to take out this dot. So that was what I said. I said I forgot the property to call. So just cancel anything. So the A, I removed that underline in A as text decoration to be none. So because this nav is actually calling the UL inside this, so each of this is representing each of this item here. So if you refresh, it takes it out. Like that means there is no styling. And if you makes it, so you can make it like something like this. If you turn this one to O, so that means it's ordered list, and you refresh, you change it to 1, 2, 3, 4.
So, but you've not given us the key indices of CSS.
The what?
The key indices. You've not given us on CSS.
Key indices. Can you explain what you mean?
When they say key indices now, you know, for Word, you have them in short forms, like your Control S, like this. those are the keys. So I don't know if we have key indices for CSS.
No. There's no short form. There's no shortcut. You write it. That's why it's called. Okay, I think that's why it is. It is web. That's why it is. It's a language. You have to like understand it and give it to the computer.
I just feel something if you don't really get it, at least the short form can help you to assist you on the
The short form is very like what I'm using now is like this body now. It's the tag is body. If you want to call it in CSS, it's still body. So what is left to you is how to design your own. There's no short form to background color. Maybe you want to type BG, it's a lie, it will not work. It is background color. But some people you can combine some text together. Oh, okay. So like background color, you can just put background alone. Then you can put background column, the first one the color, then the background repeat, and like you can merge different things together. But it is always advisable to outline each of those styling. So anybody come in, because at times your code, you might write the code, another person comes in and continue. Another person comes in and continue. So if you just move everything together, the person will not be like, I don't understand what this person is doing, or you just Control A, clear whatever you are doing. Yeah. So there's a property I need to bring in to make it stretch. So because it is in black, see, it is a block. So let me look for the display type to use. I'm looking for one. There's one property we need to use to pick. No, I'm coming. Flex will do it. Do you get? But I don't want to use it.
Something does it now. Go up. Up again.
No, it is Flex.
Flex.
Yeah, Flex will do it because Flex will try to break each of your content into like a what do you call it? Into each section. So you can now call it.
Flex.
Yeah, no, even both flex entirely. It will split them into columns. So in flex you have columns, you have row. So you can specify column direction, row direction, justification, align center, align items. Everything is very easy. To learn flex, you can learn flex on Flexbox. So with Flexbox, thank you. So you see now. So with Flexbox, you can just this is like an element. So this will just teach you like just play around it. So they want you to move that frog into this place. So you see, Flex will actually like make it very easy, but there is actually another display that will give us what we want. So it's okay. I think we've gotten it. So what is missing is the float, like that floating to the left. So they are floating everything to the left. So what the CSS is now actually doing is, for each of the item now, is floating them to the left. For each of the li, remember that this navigation represents that UL, then the li represents the list, and now moving everything to left. But this is the trick about float. If I remove everything here, inside this container here, down, and save, if I refresh, this is what happens. You can see everything, right? So I will clear the float. So there's a way you can clear all the float that is happening. Yep. Division style equals clear boot. So it clears all the floating. See this? See, I'm not putting anything inside. So what I want to do is clear all the float on the navigation, so that when you're writing anything after that, you see that. Are you looking at me? Okay. Now, this is what I'm doing. if I take out this, save, float makes everything to come together because any space it tries to fill it up. So we want to tell the browser that look, after this menu, don't allow anything to come up again. Start a new division. So that's why I'm writing this. That okay, style, clear both. So anything floats, anything margin, anything whatsoever, it's clearing it off. So when you refresh, you see it takes that one down and leave this man here. But this is not, this contact us has broken. So that means the space is not enough. So let's look at each of the A. So this is how you actually style. Let's look at the style for A. So you can now say border 1px solid, then give it color of so you can see it. You see, it's very very small, very small. You see. So why not just increase this to 100%? Do you see what happened? So now it has stretched out. Now for it to stretch out, let's activate. We take out one background color now. Okay, okay. So we can now give it on A because each of those items it's LIA. So if anything you style on A, it affects the LI. So you can now give it a padding of 5 pixel. Remember that the rem, one rem equals to 16 pixel, but we don't need up to 16. So I'm giving it in pixel. So then you can give margin left to the left. So 100%. Okay, the background should be black, but something has affected the background. Color red, background black, color is red, background is black. Okay. So I'm trying to measure what we have inside. Like the A that I'm styling, the color, the font, the margin, the padding. So I give it padding of 5px, margin of 5px, right? Then the color of red and the so I'm giving this man here. Giving this man here the width of 100 and okay. So the width 100%, the float. I don't really want to use text decoration. Okay, let me go back to this menu, the decoration on display block, blah blah blah. Okay, background color, blah 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 blah. So wait. Wait. 700 pixel. Okay, something is not even picking the width. Certain display, not this. Can't we use float? Then the width of the element should be 50%. Should be 100%. Should be 20%. Okay, so the lift to be width of 20%. So refresh. Okay, then I'm taking out the border now since I can see it, and refresh.
Okay.
I'm taking out the border. I've taken out the border. Then, so there's what they call hover in CSS. It shows that when the icon or the mouse is on the text, what action should be performed. So you can do something like nav a, then you pass in the hover. So that means, let's say, change the background color to this and color to hey, easy. So when you hover, right, that's the end of the hover. So if I take down the hover, if you refresh, see nothing is happening again. So
your cable, you need to put it up, to check.
So
okay, now so let me go back to your question of that display. So we have let me help you with it will be very easy here because we have everything listed. So block actually fills up the particular section. So it like divides into each of the blocks, like the way it sounds, block, each of the blocks, right? But flex it changes your styling language or the styling experience, because if you're using flex, then the justify content, there's another attribute for flex. We have the justify content, we have the row direction, we have the I've forgotten this, like there are just many. See all this, this justify content, this space around justify content, then the align items, exactly, align items, align self, all of them, they are flex attributes. They are not part of the, so if you change the display to flex, everything you are writing will be in flex. If you change the display to grid, everything you are writing will be in a grid styling system. So we have the grid styling CSS. So everything you are writing, if you change that display to grid, it will be grid. Everything you are writing, if you change it to flex, change it to flex. If you change it to block, you are still on the normal CSS, but you are just giving it like each of the blocks like this item is actually fixed into the block. So it's not going out of it. I'm not a front-end person much. I don't mean you have front-end. So you can easily Google all these front-end thing and ask, like, you can just say inline block.
So which one are you? You're not in front-end, you're not in back-end, you're web designer. Which one? You're not in front-end, you're not in back-end. Which one are you?
No, I'm back-end engineer.
Back-end engineer.
Yeah, I do most of back-end. All these things I'm teaching you, I learned in 2010. So it has been long. So, so you see the block, it fills the whole block, makes it an inline. Then inline block, inline block, block. So with this you can actually learn more of it. But if you don't change it to flex, don't change it to grid. Once you change it to grid, you are using another CSS attribute entirely. Watch this. They're using flex there, display flex. Then they use flex direction to be column. So you can use that, you can use this flex to actually achieve it too. But if you look at this shows that this inline. I think if you change it to inline, it might probably work instead of using that float. But I don't know. So I did a bit of CSS also. When I started, I learned this is how I started too. The HTML, the CSS. Then I just felt like instead of like as a trend is now divided, we now have the front end, the back end. So I have to like, I think I'm better in back end because all these CS.
Because now everybody here now, according to medicine, is general class.
Yeah. So as time goes on, because we've not actually entered the back end part.
I feel I feel you want to discover what's you.
No, that's when if we enter the back end, if I talk about the back end, I talk about the front end, I talk about the DevOps. That one is it's not even code at all. That one is uploading your website online so that everybody can access it. That one is actually different. So what I do is I'm a back end engineer with DevOps. So I'm a DevOps engineer, I'm a back end engineer. I do small of CSS, but I don't really want to focus more into front end. So I leave front end for front end people. I handle my own back end and the DevOps.
Okay, so now, what? Okay, now.
So sorry, wait. Hello, do you get the?
Yes, I got it now.
So I think with this image, you can actually it will give you a clear image, a picture of it.
I would prefer the image.
So this is what you will do too at times when you get hooked on some CSS attributes. You can just Google it. So they will show you. They will just show you how it should work. Do you get it? So I think that we should. There's another one here. So the block is giving each of the section a block, like just giving it the block, each of the section. But this now, like try to stretch it out. Then the inline block. So that means when you are giving it a block, it's actually occupying the whole width specified.
The block should have done that work for us then.
Yeah, but it's not. I don't know why it's not showing. Oh, let's give it a try. But wait, don't let us get everybody diverted. So let's go. We can take a look at it after the class. So to this point, right? Before this inline stuff, do we get it? Okay. Let me now take a step to. This is where we'll stop for today, right? Then everybody will try to. I will just give you the space to do anything you want. You understand? Just anything that comes to your head, design it, write it. Let's see how it will come out. Then if you have any challenges, I will not be here to solve whatever problem it is. I hope that one works.
Yes.
So let me show us how form works. So there's a tag called form. Inside that form we have action, but for now I'm not touching the action because action have to do with. You remember we were talking about Python, PHP, JavaScript. So I'm not going to that now. So we have the form. Inside the form we now have different. Form is we have radio, like all this interaction between the user and the system. So you want to enter your input, we have input field, we have the checkbox, we have the radio button, we have the submit button also. So for example now we have label. Devil is a liar. Label. So let's say we have label username. And under the username I have input. Input type equals to text. Then input type equals to text. Then I have another one, password. Then input type equals to password. So when you come and you refresh, should we take it up?
Yes, take it up.
Yeah, so that we can see it better. So you have the name, the username, and the password. So let me add a submit button. So we also have a button called input type. Input type equals to submit. Then we can pass in value equals to login. So when you refresh, you have your input. So just enter your username. So text will show you anything you are entering, but type of password will make it black.
Yes.
Because you're entering the password, you don't want anybody to know the
Make it
password.
dots.
Exactly. So you know you see is dots.
Yes.
Do we get it? Or should I come again? Because from here now, we are entering into the real programming now. From this form now, I'll just show you how PHP will now get what you enter and send to database. The Mr. Man, do we have this username or email in my database? If yes, return. If no. So most web design schools, most everybody that says come and learn web design and you pay 50,000, 7,500, they will stop. They might probably stop here or just show you some PHP that with $_ post and it stops. In fact, the PHP part, the program part, is not part of the flyer. I just want to add it so that, because if you stop here, I bet it, I give you 3 weeks. There's nothing interesting again. Abi, you want to show someone that this is what you learned. You show. So what is now there? Okay, so I've designed it now. Okay, what will I do with it? Just asking yourself that question. Do you get it? So I will take you into the real part. So we have the input type. So we have the checkbox also. So the checkbox is, let's say, label. Select course. So we have input type checkbox, and I have this. So we have web design. I will tell the difference between the checkbox and the radio. We have web design, we have teaching, we have doctor, we have pastors, and we have none. So it's getting to that part that is interesting actually. So if I refresh this, I can check this, I can check this, check this, check this, and check this. I'm checking everything, and you can still pass default value here. Now when immediately they open the website, what should happen? Okay, I can say when they open the website, just pass in the value of username. Let's say Tosin. So once you refresh this page, you meet Tosin inside already sitting there. So you can now clean it and put Ayo or put praise.
Sorry, sir. I don't know. I want to ask a quick stuff. So the value is sent to the placeholder.
No, it's different.
It's different.
I will show you now. Now the value, you can let me refresh. I have to see. I can back. So the value is actually a text written that you are writing inside the input field. But a placeholder is just telling you that what you should enter inside this input text, but you can't clean it. You can't clear. So if I pass in placeholder of username, just watch. So I'm taking this value out and I refresh. You see that it's not actually a value. It's just like a label for that input. It's not a value. But if you put a value, it's a real text. So now if you submit this, if you send, the way it is now, if you send it to the backend will see username as empty string. Like something empty, nothing is inside. But if you pass in value and remove the placeholder and you send to backend, the backend will see it as Tosin. Do you get the difference? Let me come again, see you are not clear.
Okay, but if the backend should see it as Tosin, but Tosin is not the actual name of the person. It's just like his name.
Exactly. Now they use value as a default text at times. What should be there by default. So you have the opportunity to come and clean it as a user and put mark and write your own content there. So when you submit this now, instead of sending the default value as Tosin, it's sending mark. Do you get it?
But the combination of front end and back end is all full stack.
Yeah, exactly. So we have that. Then also we have select. So this checkbox. Checkbox allow you to select multiple items and send it to the backend. So you can select like 7 and send everything to the backend. So if you're passing the type text, you must pass in the name. So you might say the name of it is course. So all of them will have the same name. So it means they are binded. So when you call course, it will list every box that has been checked. That's the S of name. So in PHP, what you just call is $_post and pass into the array course. So it will list everything inside it for you. This is an example of what I'm saying. Watch. Action equals to process.php. So from here now, when you click submit, I'm sending it to process.php to handle it. So let me create process.php here, and I have my PHP, and I said, okay, look, print R everything in my global post and close it. Then here, specify method to be post. So if I refresh this page, no, I know. So if I refresh this page and I check web design, I check teaching, and I check doctor, and I submit. Oh, sorry, I'm coming. Echo $_ Eh? Wait, it's not executing. What is it?
I can't use it.
No, check that. Is there space there?
Mm.
I think you can plug it in.
Just one last piece.
Action process method post. Process of PHP.
The charger there.
I think you should use the word.
Use the wall.
Oh, sorry, I don't have PHP installed on this thing.
What about Python?
I don't have PHP installed.
JavaScript.
Eh?
JavaScript, Python.
I have Java installed.
Let's manage Java.
But I will now, we now need JavaScript to send requests. Okay, don't worry. Next time, if I'm coming, I will have installed PHP on the system.
25 minutes.
25. Okay, now thank God. So I can't. That's why it's showing this text. There's no PHP installed. So for you to confirm, if you enter PHP, let me see. See, it's scanning my whole system, looking for PHP. Coming.
No result found.
But if I say node-v, there's Node.js, there's JavaScript, but there is no PHP. So
any questions?
and let me just quickly show you some other things there. I'm taking this out because if I leave this action here, if I submit, it will still be going to that PHP. So we have the checkbox, we have the select drop down too. So let's see, we have label of states, and we have select. The name of the select is state. So anything you are calling at the back end, you use the name to call it. So we have the state. Then inside state, we have different options. Edo, Ogun, and Oyo. See, don't mind me. See all these things. It has been long. So, yeah. So, like, we have the drop down now. So this one comes as a drop down. Label and where's label? Label is wrong. Oh, it's label. Sorry, it's label though, not label. That's typo. So if you refresh now and you drop this, you see. Do you get it? I think you have web. You've done this part before, Abi. All this part in hand. So you have all these. You have Edo. You have Kwara. You have Lagos. Then you have another one called radio. So the difference between radio is so let's say we have radio. So radio is actually used for selecting one value out of the multiple. Checkbox allows you to select multiple values because you just check. But radio allows you to select one For example, it's either a true or false. So if you're writing an exam, if you're creating an examination, there is one I created then for exam. So you just read you answer the question and you submit. True or false? Exactly, true or false, or they give you objective. You have A, B, C, D, you have to select one. So radio is best to use. But if you want to select multiple items, let's say you want to select type of cars. Okay, out of all the cars I want to filter out Toyota, Hyundai, and Lexus. You can use checkbox to do that. So with this, you can just have input, but ensure that they have the same name. If not, it will not work. I will show you. So we have the input type of radio, right? And I give it male, female, and complicated. What does this do? Exactly, it breaks it. So if you refresh, see, I check male, I check female, and I check complicated. This is an abuse. This is not how it should work. Because the radio button, you can only check one. So the reason why you are able to check the three is because you did not specify name. So if you now come and specify name to be, let's say gender now. Gender, and you refresh. So if you select male, if you select female, it toggle off male and show female. If you select complicated, it toggles out female. So that's how radio works. So the difference between radio and checkbox is checkbox allow you to select multiple items, while it does allow you to select each item. Exactly. So do you get to this point? Okay. Now I want to give you access to design anything, like from what you've learned, from what you've seen now. Just come up with anything on your own web, because I've been talking. So come up with it, show anything, use tables, use CSS, use inline, external, internal, anyone you want to use. Just come up with anything.